Welcome back, my students, to a brand new episode of Comic Class. In today's lesson, guys, we're looking at Tom McFarlane's Spawn, issues 12 and 13, which is the Flashback story arc, which is covered in two parts. And yeah, this should be a really interesting video. It's been a while since I've done a two-parter for the Spawn series. We've been covering single issues for a while, but this is a two-part story, so we're going to cover both parts in today's video. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's story. Let's go. So this story basically deals with a flashback, and it's basically talking about Spawn getting his memories back on how exactly he was killed. And yeah, so we get a flashback basically showing us that Spawn is thinking of the people that he cared about back then, which was, all these different people like his wife, and he also had this person called Grandma Blake, which I believe was the grandma of Wanda. And yeah, she was basically a believer and would try to get, Al to basically believe in God, which he never did. And yeah, this is important in a little bit, but we get to see basically Jason Wynn, basically the guy that was in charge, I guess, of the military, or the higher up of Al Simmons, basically, who hired Chapo basically to kill him. We're seeing now that he's basically getting told by one of his accountants or someone that works for him that Terry, which is the husband of Wanda now, basically worked in the CIA. With Al. Worked for the military or something like that. I think he was part of like security or something, very secret stuff. That they're wondering if he's trying to like blackmail them or find some stuff out. And he basically gets told by Jason Wynn that he needs to try to, shut him up, basically, tell him that, they'll kill his family or something. So we'll get back to that, but we get to see that Spawn goes to talk to, Grandma Blake, and basically lets her know that, heaven's real, and that hell is real, and that there's no place for him up there, but that, she will, be accepted in there whenever she dies. She'll be going to heaven, unlike him. And I really did enjoy this part because it shows the regret that Al had. Now he paid the ultimate price for not believing, but not only that, but he became a hell Spawn basically of his own will, because he is the one that accepted the deal by Boja. But I thought it was a really good scene, and it shows the emotion and the care that Al has for the people that he cared about, before he died. And I thought it was really cool to see someone else that Al cared about other than Wanda. So I really did enjoy that. And we jump to Wanda and Terry and their kid, and basically they're confronted by some of the CIA members, it seems, and they basically tell Terry that they need to he needs to keep off on what they're doing, and if he doesn't, they're basically trying to kill his family. So that's going on with Terry and them. Now we don't see where Spawn is with the rest of the homeless people, and they basically are just enjoying themselves. And one of the homeless guys puts on Spawn's mask, and he almost gets suffocated by the mask. It kind of like has its own mind of its own. And Spawn is able to get the mask off of the dude, and basically tells him that it's not really a toy. This mask, he can't really control it. Just like his cape, it seems. Now, I'm pretty sure this will be something he can control in the future, but at least this point in the story, he hasn't gained control of his powers like that yet. So it's really cool. Now, while Spawn is giving kind of like this guy a lecture, basically telling him that he needs to, leave his stuff alone because it could, in fact kill somebody, even though, he doesn't want to kill them. The mask, like I said, has a mind of its own. But while he's telling them, he basically gets his mind jawed, and he starts remembering some flashbacks, and in a stroke of all this information, it's revealed to him that Chappelle is the one that killed him, which was, I guess, one of his friends or best friends in the military. And yeah, then we jump into the next issue, which is Flashback Part 2, which is, I believe, issue 13. And Spawn goes out, he gets ready, gets prepared, and he goes out to fight Chapo. And yeah, he arrives to take on, I guess, I forgot what they're called. But they're basically the group that Chapo works with, that fights alongside with. And Spawn basically teleports him and Chapo away from them, and he basically tells them that they're not gonna find him. And they're basically all wondering where Chapo was taken to with Spawn, and they basically go out to look for Chapo, and they actually think Chapo will kill Spawn, which is kind of funny because they really don't know how strong Spawn really is. And yeah, so we get to see Terry is up during the night wondering what exactly happened with these CIA people, and will they really kill his family. And he basically goes to look at their daughter, and he's basically just contemplating what he's going to need to do. So hopefully we get some stuff with Terry in the future. And yeah, so Chapo and Spawn arrive in some place, and they basically are about to begin their battle with each other. And Spawn basically tells them that he knows that despite what they say right now, they're going to have to fight. And they basically get into a battle with each other, and it's a really good battle. It's not too action heavy. This whole scene is basically here just to have Spawn basically tell his friend, or Ed's friend, I guess you could say, Chapo, that he's the one that killed him, basically. And Chapo was surprised to hear Spawn basically call him a name that I guess they had called him during his military days. And he realizes that this in fact is Al Simmons, and we get to see the flashback and what happened with Jason Wynn, that he hired Chapo to basically kill his friend. He paid him off basically, and he basically just did it. Now it's implied that Chapo basically did this because he just would enjoy it, and he basically, whenever he got the opportunity, he basically took the shot and basically fried Al Simmons' brains to a crisp, basically, as it says here. And yeah, so they basically go and they engage more in combat, and Spawn basically starts attacking Chapo, and he basically stars him. He says that he's not going to kill him, he's going to leave him here for his friends to find. He basically puts his tracking device, he fixes it basically for him so that his friends can find him, and 8 hours later they basically arrive and find Chapo on the ground, and they were wondering where exactly the cave guy went because they don't know his name is Spawn yet. And this story ends with Chapo's face being like part skeleton, like it's white looking. His teeth are all like demonic looking, like an animal. And it seems like this is going to be the look Chapo has from now on. Now I wonder if Chapo's going to be a villain, like a Spawn villain, or if this was just something that needed to be resolved for Spawn's character. He felt like he needed to do this to his old friend. But it was really good, and overall I really did enjoy this little story arc. It had a lot of information. It was mainly just an information story arc to let us learn more about Spawn. And yeah, that was the Flashback story arc, which covers Spawn issue 12 and 13. Overall I really did enjoy this story. Now I'm actually caught up to where I had stopped reading Spawn, so I'm going to be reading the series from this point on, kind of like blind, and covering it for you guys. So I hope that you guys enjoyed these Spawn videos, and I hope you guys stay on the channel and subscribe if you haven't already, as we cover the entire Tom McFarlane run. I don't know if I'll be covering the run by whoever came after him, or if I'm just going to be covering Tom McFarlane's run. Because I have been recommended, I've looked at recommendations, they do say that it's not that great, and it's better just stick to what Todd McFarlane did on the character, but we'll see when we get to that point. But we have a long way to go until we get there, so let's just enjoy the ride while we're on. But that's going to be all, guys. Until next video, God bless you. Until the next lesson, keep on reading those comments.